The betrayal, Jorge Martin's disrespectful exit from Aprilia. From factory faith to public backstabbing, a two-sided autopsy on the most embarrassing exit in modern MotoGP. Chapter 1. The Crown Before the Throne. Let's call it for what it was. Aprilia bent over backwards to make Jorge Martin the future of their MotoGP empire. Before he'd ever worn the crown, they built him a castle, a full factory seat, leadership role, captain status, a blank check of belief in a rider who, until then, had been Ducati's second thought. Aprilia didn't just sign a rider, they adopted a cause. And what did they get in return? A betrayal so stupid it makes Lorenzo's wrong turns look like genius. The ink wasn't even dry on the contract, and Martin started sniffing for exits like he was trapped. Ducati had already slapped him in the face, picked Marc Marquez, the gangster, the OG, and instead of embracing revenge with Aprilia, Martin spiraled into paranoia and self-pity. Ducati's decision now? It looks prophetic. Because this Martin? He ain't built for war. Aprilia gambled their entire future vision on him. He hadn't even ridden a race distance. Not even a complete Sunday. And he's already testing exit clauses like a scared schoolboy playing with the fire alarm. Immaturity doesn't even cover it. This is sabotage, dressed up as superstition. Chapter 2. Ducati's slap was a wake-up call, and Martin went back to sleep. Let's be brutally honest, Ducati's U-turn wasn't personal. It was business. They had to choose between a decorated, six-time champion whose name sells tickets, Marc Marquez, and a nearly man who collapsed when it mattered, Jorge Martin. They chose the warlord, the alpha. And they were right. Instead of using that as fuel, Martin collapsed. He didn't come back with rage. He didn't vow revenge. He took the gift Aprilia gave him and spat on it before even taking the wrapping paper off. Ducati saw something Aprilia didn't, a weak mentality. A rider who wants the number one plate, but not the pressure that comes with it. A guy who loves fast Saturdays, but disappears when the real storm hits on Sunday. Aprilia? They went full romantic. We'll build around you, they said. You're our champion, they declared. They planned a dynasty. But dynasties aren't built on fragile egos. They're built on loyalty. And Martin's loyalty has the lifespan of a TikTok trend. Chapter 3. Curse or cowardice. The absurd superstition circus. Now, let's wade into the most pathetic part of this debacle. The idea that Martin's running scared because of a curse. You heard right. Some paddock whispers suggest Jorge is blaming the number one plate or the Aprilia logo or some voodoo fantasy as the reason behind his mental unraveling. If that's true, then we're dealing with a rider not haunted by bad luck, but by the ghost of his own cowardice. When he crashed out of races on the Ducati, did he blame the red paint? When he wrecked at Le Mans, did he curse Pramac purple? No. He showed up. He adapted. He evolved into a threat. So why now, Jorge? What happened between then and now? The number one plate isn't cursed. You just can't carry the weight of it. This isn't about luck. This is about the pressure of being the guy and failing to show up when it matters. He's running from responsibility and looking for scapegoats, be it the bike, the brand, or the badge on the front fairing. And if we're being real, if the number one plate is haunting you, maybe you never should have worn it. Maybe you were always number two mentally, and Ducati just saw it before Aprilia did. Chapter 4. Immaturity on display, the exit clause clown show. Aprilia were still licking their wounds from the Ducati loss. They needed a champion they could shape, someone who could make their dream of a world title come true. Jorge Martin was that dream, until he decided to set it on fire. No patience, no trust, no sense of team. He invoked his claws like a kid flipping a Monopoly board. Because what? The vibes were off? He didn't win a sprint by round 4? Someone whispered Honda in his ear and his knees buckled? Even after Aprilia came forward and begged to sit down, begged to find common ground, he gave them silence in return. That's not business. That's betrayal. This is not how champions behave. This is how opportunists operate. This is how sellouts maneuver when the promise of fame fades and fear sets in. Chapter Honda or Hell, the price of Judas Silver. If the rumors are true and Jorge Martin is eyeing a move to Honda, then we have to stop calling this a business move and start calling it what it really is. Backstabbing of the highest order. Honda? The team still scraping the rust off their championship machine? The team known for rider injuries and broken spirits since Marquez's crash in 2020? If Jorge thinks Aprilia is not good enough, what is Honda? Suicide on wheels? Let's not forget, this is the same Honda that's Marc Marquez to the hospital more times than a UFC octagon. The same Honda that's currently behind satellite teams in terms of performance. He's ditching Aprilia, who just trusted him blindly, to join a manufacturer in rehab? That's not ambition. That's idiocy wrapped in yen. He can spin it however he likes. He can say it's about the challenge or a new chapter. But when you peel the PR crap away, it's about one thing: money. And if it is money, then say it with your chest. Be honest about it. Don't sneak out the back door while people are still hanging welcome banners for you in No Alley. The true victims: Aprilia's loyalty, Bzeki's rise. While Jorge Martin's playing hide-and-seek with his soul, someone else is stepping into the fire and owning the pressure. Marco Bzeki. He's doing the work. He's putting the Aprilia in places Jorge hasn't. He's smiling when he finishes, but working like hell behind closed doors. No superstitions, no escape clauses, just grit. Aprilia may have bet on the wrong horse initially, but they have time to switch saddles. Bzeki deserves the spotlight Martin has forfeited. Aprilia were left holding the bag after Ducati's decision, and Martin made it worse. They poured trust, technology, and team resources into someone who folded before the cards were even dealt. It wasn't the number one plate that cursed Martin. It was the number one thing Aprilia needed that he couldn't give: leadership. Chapter 7. The statement that ruined everything. Let's rewind to the moment it all exploded, the infamous statement. One careless sentence. That's all it took for the castle to crumble. In a paddock this political, this cutthroat, words matter. Tone matters. Timing matters. And Jorge Martin delivered all three like a loaded gun to Aprilia's pride. He made himself bigger than the team, bigger than the project. One moment of arrogance, and the entire relationship imploded. He didn't just burn a bridge, he nuked it. From adored savior to despised traitor in 15 seconds. Chapter 8. The collapse of trust, a Greek tragedy in No Alley. Make no mistake, this wasn't just a contractual fallout. It was a collapse of trust, of belief. Aprilia saw Jorge as the son they never had, the heir to their throne, the man who would finally take them to glory. Now, they're left with silence, no loyalty, no honesty, just legal games and media leaks. Martin's actions have made Aprilia look weak. They've been made fools in front of the world, and yet they've handled it with restraint. No public dragging, no dirty laundry, just quiet dignity. Meanwhile, Martin's side can't stop leaking and teasing and whispering about greener pastures. He made Aprilia beg. That's something they will never forget. Chapter 9. Jorge Martin, the illusion of a champion. Maybe it was all smoke. Maybe Jorge Martin was never that guy. Maybe the speed was real, but the mentality was rental. Quick over a lap, but not over a career. Aprilia wanted a king. They got a court jester with a chip on his shoulder and a price tag on his loyalty. All this drama, and the man hasn't even finished a race on their bike. Let that sink in. Chapter 10. Let him walk. Aprilia deserves better. Let him go. If Jorge Martin thinks he's outgrown Aprilia, let him walk right into the fire he lit. Because Aprilia will rise again, maybe with Bzeki, maybe with someone else. But they will rise. And Jorge? He'll be on a Honda, in 19th place, wondering how he went from being the chosen one to being a cautionary tale. Final word. Martin, you weren't betrayed. You were the betrayer. You weren't the victim, Jorge. You were the villain. You took faith and turned it into a power move. You turned trust into leverage. You turned a dream into a nightmare. Ducati rejected you. Aprilia believed in you. And your answer was to gut them publicly and walk into the arms of a lesser machine, all for superstition and greed. Your downfall won't be mechanical. It'll be moral. And when you're sitting on that Honda, 20 seconds off the leaders, remember, You had the keys to the kingdom, and you threw them into the dirt.